Welcome to Shakina's Math Center. In this video, we will be reading the models of two proper fractions being multiplied together. When you see a square with rows and columns, rows being one color, columns being another, and a section is overlapping, such as right here, know that you are multiplying two proper fractions. Here we want to find out which two proper fractions are being multiplied, as well as the product or the answer to those two fractions being multiplied. Let's focus on only the columns first. You want to label them. So label them 1, 2, 3. You know your fraction, your first fraction will have a denominator of 3. Now, how many of those thirds are actually shaded? The columns are shaded blue. So I'm going to draw a miniature version of that first fraction by itself. Here I'm going to draw my whole, and then I'm going to section it off into 3 equal parts. This part is the part that is shaded. So that would be 1/3. That is the blue portion. Then the other fraction, we're going to multiply this by another fraction. The other fraction, you're going to have to read the rows. How many rows do we have going all the way across? So label them 1, 2, 3, 4. We know our denominator is 4. And then we have to ask ourselves how many of those fourths are shaded going all the way across. I am going to draw a miniature version of that second fraction. Okay, we see that it is fourths. And if you look at the model, it is the top row being shaded all the way across in pink, then the second one, as well as that third one. So our second fraction is 3/4. Now, these two fractions, these two models are overlapping each other, creating this model here. The overlap of the pink and blue combined is creating a purple color. That purple color is right here. So we want to ask ourselves how many are overlapping. So that would be 1, 2, 3. It's 3. And then how many boxes, regardless if it's pink, white, purple, blue, doesn't matter the color, how many boxes all together? So this is a 3 by 4. So 3 by 4, that's 12. And then we can simplify that 3/12. So 3/12, I'm going to write it over here, ran out of room. We're going to divide by 3. And then we will get 1/4. The multiplication sentence that matches this model is 1/3 times 3/4 equals 3/12, which simplifies to 1/4. Let's try another one together. So let's read our first fraction. We're going to focus on the columns first. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, columns are going up and down. Our denominator for that first fraction will be fourths. Then we have to ask ourselves how many of those fourths are actually shaded. So we can see the first, second, and third are shaded. I will draw a miniature model again of that first fraction. Remember, only columns, and it's the first 3 that's actually shaded blue. So our numerator is 3. Now let's focus on the second fraction. We're going to focus on rows going across. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So our second fraction is also fourths. And now we have to ask ourselves, how many of those fourths are shaded? And it's only the top one, the pink going all the way across. So our answer, actually first let me draw a miniature so that way you can see the two separate fractions. It is this top one going all the way across. These two fractions right here, these two proper ones, we have the 3/4 and then we have the 1/4 here. These two are overlapping to create this model. Now let's find the product by looking at the model. We have how many overlapping? We have this one, and this one. The overlap is the blue and pink combined to make purple. All right, we have 3. Now, how many boxes do we have all together? And we have a 4 by 4, meaning it is 16. So the multiplication sentence that matches this model is 3/4 times 1/4 equals 3/16. 3/16 cannot be simplified, so this would be your final answer. Here we have another model. Let's focus on columns first. Let's label them. We have 1, 2, 3. So our first fraction will be out of thirds. Now we have to ask ourselves how many of those thirds are shaded. So you're focusing on the blue. All right, it's only one. It's that first column that's shaded. So 1/3 is that first fraction. Then we are going to multiply it by another fraction. Let's focus on rows and label. So we have 1, 2, 3. So that second fraction is also out of thirds. Then we have to ask ourselves how many of those thirds are shaded going across. It's only that first one going all the way across. It is shaded pink. All right, so that one is 1/3. Then let's find the product by reading the model. How many are overlapping? We have only one overlapping with that pink and blue to make purple. So our numerator is 1. Then we have to ask ourselves, how many little squares do we have all together? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our denominator is 9. So the multiplication sentence that matches this model is 1/3 times 1/3 equals 1/9. You can also verify your answer by doing 1 times 1, which is 1. Then doing 3 times 3, which is 9. Here we have another model. Let's focus on columns first and label. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our first fraction will be out of fifths. Then we have to ask ourselves how many of those fifths are shaded. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So our numerator is 4. Then we are going to multiply this by another model. Let's focus on rows. We have 1, 2. So our fraction will be out of halves. Then ask ourselves, how many of those halves are shaded? It's only the first one going completely across. That first row is pink. All right, so our numerator is 1. It's only one out of the two. Now let's find the product by reading the model. So ask yourself, how many are overlapping? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That overlapping is the pink and blue to make that purple color. We have 4. Then you have to ask yourself, how many little boxes all together? This is a 5 by 2, so this is 10. Then we have to simplify this fraction. 4/10 can be simplified. Divide your numerator and denominator by 2. Then you will get 2/5. Also, you can do 4 times 1 just to check your work. That's 4. Then 5 times 2, which is 10. So the multiplication sentence that matches this model is 4/5 times 1/2, which equals 4/10, which then simplifies to 2/5. Let's look at this model. Let's focus on columns first and label. We have 1, 2. Your first fraction will be out of halves. Let's see how many of those halves are shaded. It is only the first column. So your numerator for that first fraction is 1. So it's 1/2. Then we're going to multiply that by another fraction. Now let's pay attention to rows and label. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our denominator for that second fraction will be out of fifths. Now we have to ask ourselves how many of those fifths are shaded going across rows. So we have the first one, the second one, and the third one. They're all pink going all the way across. So 3/5 is that second fraction. Now let's find the product by reading the model. Our numerator will be the overlapping portion, that pink and blue combined to make that purple. So we have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 boxes overlapping. Now to figure out what that denominator is, you have to ask yourself how many boxes altogether. So this is a 5 by 2, which is 10. The multiplication sentence that matches this model is 1/2 times 3/5 equals 3/10. And 3/10 cannot be simplified. Then you can also do 1 times 3, that is 3. 2 times 5 is 10. Let's take a look at this model. Let's focus on columns first. The blue going up and down. Let's label them 1, 2, 3. The denominator of your first fraction will be 3. Now, how many of those thirds are shaded? Remember, you're only looking at columns. So it's that first column as well as that second column. There are 2 columns shaded. So our first fraction is 2/3. Now we are going to multiply that by another fraction. Let's look at rows and label 1, 2, 3, 4. So the denominator of your second fraction will be 4. Now, how many of those fourths are shaded? It's only this first top row. So our numerator is 1. That second fraction is 1/4. Now let's find the answer by reading the model. Your numerator will be that overlapping portion of that pink and blue to make that purple, which is 1, 2. It's 2 of them overlapping. So that is your numerator. Now let's find the denominator by counting the total amount of pieces. This is a 3 by 4. So our total is 12. This can be simplified. We would have to divide by 2, divide by 2. So our new answer would be 1/6. So the multiplication sentence that matches this model is 2/3 times 1/4 equals 1/6. All right, let's look at this model. Let's focus on our columns. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So the denominator of that first fraction is out of fifths. Then we have to figure out how many of those fifths are shaded. How many columns are shaded? It's only that first column. That's it. Only the first one. So your numerator is going to be 1. It's 1/5. Now let's multiply that by another fraction. Now let's pay attention to rows going across. Let's label how many rows we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the denominator of that second fraction will be out of fourths. Now, how many of those fourths are shaded going all the way across in pink? That would just be one of the fourths. Your numerator is 1. Now let's find the product by reading the model. So how many are overlapping with both the pink and blue to make that purple? We only have one little box, one box. So our numerator of our answer will be 1. Now, how many boxes do we have all together? This is a 5 by 4, so our denominator is 20. 1 times 1, that is 1. 5 times 4 is 20. The multiplication sentence that matches this model is 1/5 times 1/4 equals 1/20. For this model, I would like you to pause the video, see if you can work it out on your own. Once you are finished, press play, and then check your work as I work through the problem. Let's focus on columns. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first fraction will have a denominator of 6. Then you have to ask yourself, how many are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is that blue. Then we are going to multiply that by, let's focus on rows and label 1, 2, 3, 4. So the second fraction will be out of fourths. Then ask yourself how many of those fourths are shaded. So that would be the pink, and it's only 1. That top row is shaded. So it's 1/4. Now let's read the model to get the product. So how many are overlapping with pink and blue to make that purple? We have 5. Then how many little boxes do we have all together? This is a 6 by 4. So we have 24. And this cannot be simplified. 5/24 cannot be simplified.